been to Lift the Rock before? Okay, so just in case you don't know, I have this whole thing about empty chairs, right? So the front row is sad and lonely. Don't make me say your name. Tall guys can sit in the front. That's all right. Tall guys are even better in the front. It's almost like having two people. See? You're so tall. Awesome. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Okay, so again, one more time because I kind of lost track. How many of you guys are new? Awesome. Okay, well, for those of you that don't know, the purpose of Lift the Rock is to connect the startup community with the existing business community in Central Arkansas, because together we can help all of our endeavors grow. So, first things first, we always want to give a special shout out and thank you to the Little Rock Regional Chamber of Commerce. They have done a lot to help establish the Venture Center here in Central Arkansas, and also to keep all of our programs up and running and well connected. We are eternally grateful to the Little Rock Regional Chamber of Commerce. And then our friends at Janney King. Tracy Costa is the owner of Janney King and keeps our space as clean as you possibly can with this many entrepreneurs cruising around in here. So if you ever have cleaning needs, I highly recommend that you reach out to me and I'll help connect you to our buddies at Janney King. Our awesome screaming fast Wi-Fi is provided by one of our very own startups, Hyperleap. It's 1 gig up and down, so if you want a little taste of the kind of speed that you can't get at your own house in Central Arkansas, feel free to log on to our internet. Just a little heads up, it's kind of like getting on the Wi-Fi at a hotel. You'll log on, get a little splash page that says, hey, if you become a member, you get access to even faster internet. And you say, yeah, I know. I'm going to get on the slow stuff today. Right? It's slow, still fast, though. So, another reason to become a Venture Center member. A couple of things, though, before we get started this morning. We have some super big, fantastic, huge news. As you can see, we are going to move to Tuesdays starting September 13th. We listened to the community and really felt like this was the best option for us to be able to grow all the entrepreneurs all the time, everywhere. So we're going to go ahead and move to Tuesday, but not until September 13th. So you've got plenty of time to make that change on your calendar. So I have another question for you. What's the one thing that you think it takes for a startup to be successful? Persistence. Customers. Anybody else? Capital? Okay, capital's huge, right? But how do you get customers? And how do you get capital? You do that through, busted up thing, connections, right? And so that's the whole purpose of Lift the Rock, is to make those connections. So to that end, today's presenter, Nolan with Grounded Feet, has some specific asks. He wants to meet retail buyers, he wants to meet retailers, and apparently he's hunting for a CTO, and he might tell us a little bit more about that. So if you know somebody who can put products in stores, if you know someone who owns a store, if you know somebody who would be a rockin' CTO, or if you just know somebody who might know somebody who could be a rockin' CTO, you'll have an opportunity to share that information with us and help connect today's startup to those individuals. So before we officially get started with today's presentation, I want to remind you that you do have an opportunity to share the love on social media. We use the hashtag #LiftTheRock. You can find the Venture Center at Venture Center, pretty easy. And you can find Nolan's company, Grounded Feet, at Grounded Feet. If you are on Instagram, it's also, is it Grounded Feet there too? It's the same everywhere because Nolan likes to keep it simple and keep the brand pure. So, with no further ado, I'm going to hand this off to Nolan, and he's going to tell us all there is to know about Grounded Feet. And as he walks up here and turns on his mic, you guys are going to rise to your feet, put some energy in the room, and welcome him to the front with noise. Woo!
Thanks, guys.
Turn it off and back on. Oh, now it's happy.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Like she said, my name is Nolan Hughes. I'm the founder and CEO of Grounded Feet Apparel. Before I get started, I went through the pre-accelerator last fall and went through pitch day in December, and it was just an invaluable experience with what I learned and the mentors that I got to meet with, and really hone in on the vision of the company and what that looked like to scale. So there's another pre-accelerator starting, so I would highly encourage doing it. But so Grounded Feet Apparel. So let's talk about apparel. I was talking to Walter earlier. I don't think he's still in the room, but T-shirts and stuff, hats, like all these things are, commodities. Anybody can sell T-shirts. But what makes a gray T-shirt desirable? Like what makes just a white T-shirt desirable? So you look at these really great brands like Nike, Patagonia, Polo, all these really great companies that carve out a niche within a segment group, customer base that wants to, express who they are in the gym or outdoors or just high-end apparel. Like, they want a brand that associates like who they are as a person and who they're trying to represent themselves to the world as. And so that's a little bit about the branding. And so I've been a Christian for about 20 years, but I've also loved nice clothes. And so I looked at the market, and there was really no cool clothing or even brands for that matter that I wanted to associate with. So the Christian apparel market is broken into like two segments. So you have your preachy category with brands such as like Not of This World clothing, Active Faith, which is the workout side, and all of it is really branded with like, Jesus or, whatever it is, like it's super scriptural or super just in your face. This is the gospel. I'm a believer. And then you have like Caruso and like these other categories that really use other people's brands and kind of make an interesting, spin on it. So you take Abercrombie and Fitch, and it's like, okay, a breadcrumb and fish, or Reese's, and they turn into Jesus, King of Kings, Sweet Savior, and it's like none of this stuff is really inspiring anybody, and to me it's kind of a mockery. And young people that want to present themselves in their schools, in their workplace, really want something better than what's on the market. So how do you create, so that all led me to this, how do you create a Christian apparel brand that doesn't say anything about the gospel and isn't, preachy or cheesy? So how does that work? How can you share the gospel without sharing the gospel? So that was the challenge we were trying to crack, and so we went off three things. So number one, it has to be inspiring. So even take worldly brands such as Coach, Patagonia, it inspires people to be active. It inspires people to look nice. It has to compel you. And it also, for the Christian side, it has to create a platform for witnessing or sharing your faith. So how can you combine all of these three things into a brand and express that through apparel? So I came up with grounded feet. Grounded is just a general term. Anyone can use it to be grounded. Oh yeah, I'm grounded in the Word of God, or I'm grounded in my school by not smoking weed, or whatever it is. Anyone can kind of relate to the term grounded. And so our standalone logo is just the G with a downward footprint. And so we spelled feet F-E-A-T, which means an accomplishment that takes great courage and skill. We kind of relate that to the feat that Jesus Christ did on the cross, coming down, conquering sin and death. So the feat that he did, and so really encompassing all of that into being grounded in the feat that Jesus Christ did for us, and just kind of walk that out in our lives and in our apparel. So, okay, this slide doesn't show it all, but the Christian market is kind of broken into a few different categories. So you have clothing, reading material, home decor, and accessories. So Grounded Feet's really going into all of these different sectors. And this encompasses about a $5 billion industry as far as Christian retail. And a little bit of some of our products that we currently offer, we have jewelry and accessories, which is like our watches, our bamboos, our sunglasses, self-sustainable products. We have home decor with our trademark phrase, leave room for Jesus, which is really targeting parents with teenagers, our young adults going off to college, and they want to give their accountability partner this product to leave on their dorm room couch or whatever, kind of promote purity and to promote abstinence in a kind of a modern way. We have hats, and then that's one of our t-shirt designs to kind of go off what I was saying earlier. So if you just look at the designs, and I'll show you some designs later on, but this is really just a graphic tee that symbolizes Matthew 4, which is like, follow me and I'll show you how to fish for people instead of, fishing. And so, if you're in your school, in your workplace, you just see this, cool graphic, like, our goal at Grounded Feet is to really engage people in a more authentic way. So instead of just telling people, hey, I love Jesus, we want to be able to express ourselves in really cool clothes and be like, that's a really cool design. What does that mean? So it really creates a platform for you to share not only that you're a Christian, but to really share part of the gospel in Matthew 4, where it's like, when Jesus was rounding up his disciples, this picture basically just symbolizes how we fish for people. We don't, just fish. So, really going out and capturing the gospel in images, and that's really what we try to do. So the three ways that we go to market are concerts, online sales, and retail sales. So doing a study, going to 2 concerts a month, like big Christian concerts, would basically expose us to about 240,000 Christians a year. And so if just 10% of those people at the concerts bought a $25 item, sales alone for that year just in concert sales would be about $600,000. Online sales is obviously a lot bigger. In the U.S. alone, there's roughly 240 million claimed Christians that currently probably aren't buying Christian apparel. So if we just captured 1% of the believers in the U.S., that's 2.4 million customers potentially buying a shirt, a hat, jewelry, home decor, whatever it is, which would bring sales to about $60 million for that year. And then the biggest one is, retail, getting into companies like Mardel's, Lifeway. There's roughly 180 stores here in the U.S. as well. So those are our 3 ways we distribute our products. So where we're at today, we launched August 1st. So a little over 3 weeks ago, we started on a Monday. We built everything out on a Shopify platform, and we were in the top 10% of online store visitors. So we had over 1,000 visitors in our first week. We have to date a little over $1,000 in total sales. And what's really cool is, this is what I love about Little Rock. Little Rock's such a cool startup community because it's small, it's connected, you can really get plugged in fast. And so we were on KARK last week, and the manager for Drug Emporium, of all places, gave me a call. And not a Christian retailer, but saw the designs and had a display open up. And so we talked to their employees, we talked to the managers, and they made a $700 purchase order to put our products into their stores off Rodney Parham. And it was just so cool because we're in Drug Emporium, and I'm educating like 9 and 10 of their employees and managers about Grounded Feet Apparel and how they can basically share the gospel when people ask what this picture means. Like, what is this? So I have 9 people sharing the gospel in really cool ways. So our goal is to really continue that here in Little Rock, grow our retail base here, and just to continue to get the word out on Grounded Feet. We also received our approval for the Leave Room for Jesus trademark, and that just came to fruition last week. So that's pretty much the company where we're at. This is my contact information. And I think we're going to open it up to Q&A now.
All right. Anybody have a question for Nolan? When you do have a question, which I'm certain you will, you're going to make your way up to this lovely microphone, which is going to hiss because I am now near it with mine on. Hold, please.
You're brave getting into this industry, competing against some of those giants that you're going to be competing against, but I love it. I've got 2 leads for you already, 2 matter of fact, they're pharmacies, chains here in Arkansas. Are you the only one behind this? Do you have a support staff or somebody you're working with? And if not, I know you're looking for a CTO. What other types of folks are you looking for?
Sure, great question. So when I'm going to go back a little bit because we have a little bit of time, but so when I first had the idea for this company, it all started pretty much with Leave Room for Jesus. It was basically just a a spoof product, if you will, like a gag gift, like, oh, we're going to make these hilarious pillows, we're going to put them on couches. And then going through the Venture Center, really got it was like, okay, this isn't a business. This is like a random product. Like, you're going to sell pillows and then what? So going through that creative process, interviewing people, got it down to filling the need of Grounded Feet. And so it was just me in the creative process, really diving in and coming up with a brand, because there is no brand for Christian apparel. Well, besides like not of this world clothing, but there's no like real good brand that associates with young people. So I started it, hired a graphic designer part-time to build out the logo and to come up with some of our design work. I got a couple other t-shirts over here that depicts the gospel in different ways, but so we have a graphic designer named Crystal Warren. She works like 10 to 15 hours a week. Doing graphic design stuff, doing social media stuff. So it's me and her right now, and I'm the one kind of doing it full time as far as like sales and monitoring the online store. So, but yeah, so we're looking for, as we're growing and building, we're only 3 weeks old, so as far as sales, but we're definitely looking someone to come in, potential partner, or even maybe hire out, but a CTO would be great. But so we had over 1,000 visitors on our store in 7 days, and our conversion rate was just really, really low. And so we're at this process to kind of take a step back, like, okay, how can we optimize our website? What can we implement to really capture more people and drive them through the sales funnel? Okay, they were looking at the website, they even added something to a cart. How do we optimize the site to where they continue and go all the way through checkout? And then the follow-up process, like, okay, how's our follow-up emails, like our shipping, all that kind of stuff is something I'm doing solo. So I'm doing everything, shipping, like customer emails, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so CTO, anyone, like I said, we have funds to even hire that out as far as the web optimization, but partners in that, and then partners in retail, pharmacies. Like the Drug Emporium was a really good example because they're not a Christian. They're selling Christian clothes, but they're not a Christian. They have no association with any Christian organization. So, which is really cool because our brand, that's really our brand's goal, is to sell to people that may not share the gospel. Like people like me, like I'm more evangelistic, but I didn't really wear Christian clothes, and I was kind of nervous about sharing the gospel, but it's easier, and you could capture more people that are kind of proclaim Christ, but maybe not have a good tool to do it, to share the gospel. And with our pictures, it's just super easy to share a story about Matthew, or share a story about Joshua, about the parting of the Red Sea, which we have just in a really cool graphic. It's like, oh man, what is that, a surfer wave? Like, no, check this out. Like, all the Israelites came out of slavery, and you like share this whole story off of a graphic. So really just engage people, and we love like going into places that aren't typical Christian places, and to reach those people that typically wouldn't hear the gospel.
A couple questions. So you didn't show a lot of pictures of your apparel, but are the products focused both for men and women, or is it unisex?
Yeah, so right now it's all unisex. So we have small or extra small all the way up to extra large. And this is probably our most, this is probably our most feminine t-shirt just because of the colors, but this is our Joshua 4 design, and it basically just has 12 stones stacked up next to the Jordan River with a really cool graphic, and it basically represents whenever they're marching out of Egypt and into the promised land, like as the river was parted, God instructed them, each of the 12 tribes of Israel, to grab a stone out of the riverbed and to build an altar for Christ. And so like this image represents that, but this is actually selling to women more than men. So yeah, that's something our goal is to build out more women exclusive items and men exclusive items.
So I kind of asked that because I see that, and I think of stores like Ely and Riff Raff and some of these boutique shops that do really well online and have physical presences too, that product would probably fit really well in if it were tailored
To women.
to women. They sell unisex stuff there too, but their target is really women.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know if you've talked to any boutique owners like that about your product.
Yeah, that's something we're going to be doing in the future. Yeah. Thanks.
Well, I got a couple questions. What is your initial price point for the T-shirts and stuff?
What we sell them for or what our cost is?
What you selling for?
So wholesale obviously is different from our retail cost, but we sell them online for $19.99. That's kind of our retail price point. You can get them for a little bit cheaper than that at Drug Emporium, and also our other retailer is Floral Express in the Simmons Tower down here. They go for about $17.
And before you started, I think I saw you had some sunglasses or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you show us those?
Yeah, they're in the back. Yeah, so we have a few different product lines, to really go beyond just a T-shirt company. So our goal is to really build a brand. You can just look at this if you'd like. But so we've outsourced a few products, all self-sustainable, bamboo, really cool modern designs, flex hinges, like really awesome products, along with watches with the leather strap. So our goal is to, the typical stuff, you just go to Mardell's and it's like a Christian T-shirt. Here it is. No one's really taking the different approach to building a brand where people are really associating with Grounded Feet and not just, oh, I just want this because it's a Christian T-shirt. Like, we're really focusing on our online presence, our blogs, like really educating people what it means to be grounded, how you can share the gospel. So really building a platform for young people to go to receive content information. And also, we give back to missions here in the U.S. and abroad. So to create a brand that people can associate with that does all these things, that people feel good and comfortable supporting this company versus just a T-shirt. And so in order for us to do that, we wanted to diversify our products into different categories, such as the home decor, accessories, stuff like that.
Have you talked to Mardell's or anybody else?
So yeah, I've talked to Lifeway Christian Bookstore, and we just got so for Lifeway U.S. sales, like, I don't know if anyone has ever looked into that, but you have to meet certain requirements as far as manufacturing requirements. So we just got our manufacturing in the U.S. for our pillows and our home decor, which is kind of what they were looking at whenever I approached them, because we were outsourcing our pillows, were manufactured in China, and they didn't meet the requirements for them to sell in Lifeway stores. So it wasn't workforce approved, work conditions approved, all of these things. So we had to take a step back, and it's okay, can we get our costs down enough in the U.S. to wholesale to Lifeway to where it makes sense? So we finally got our manufacturing done in North Carolina. We have them could actually do print on demand, so we could literally upload a graphic online, and they could print one piece, 100 pieces, and the cost doesn't fluctuate. So it's really cool to, and that took a lot of time to find that, to find that company. Yeah.
One more question. Can you tell us more about your vision and what it took for you to actually define your brand?
Sure. So my vision kind of stemmed from a really kind of tragic story that a lot of people can associate with. So when I was dating my fiance at the time, we ended up getting pregnant before marriage, which is crazy, taboo, in the church. And it's like, oh no, what are we going to do? And it was a really cool experience to go through that, even though at the time it was terrible, having to tell people that. But through that process, you just learn that we're all so broken and like hurting. So the vision for the company is to really relate to the imperfect people. So the people that don't know how to share the gospel, people that that maybe want to, that can relate to a brand that is not perfect, like people that run it are sinners. So our goal is to really build a social platform for pretty much every young person to know that it's okay to mess up. That's why our pillows are so important. Like, we want to talk about sex. We want to talk about premarital sex and what that looks like, how you can prevent it from happening, God's plan for your life in marriage. So me and my wife are really pushing that online and like really giving content to young people where they wouldn't necessarily get it or look for it in other places, like more real. So like that's kind of the vision, is to like make cool stuff, be authentic, and that's pretty much it. And give back to missions. Yeah.
You indicated you were looking for investors. How much money are you looking to raise, and what does the ownership look like after that?
Sure, that's something that should probably be discussed in private. Like, we're not so much looking for capital as we are looking for a strategic partner and part owner in the website of it. So the percent varies depending on, time, all that kind of stuff. But I'd be more than happy to discuss that.
What was your process for finding your graphic designer, and how long did it take you, like when you were coming up with your ideas, to find your designer, and then like your manufacturer, how long did it take you to find a manufacturer, your process for that?
Yeah, those are awesome questions. So all I can say is it was all kind of a God thing, like, because I had a name, and then I went to buy the domain, and it was taken, and then I was looking at, the original name was Dirty Feet, was one of my first product names, and it was a porn site. So I was like, all right, well, we can't use that name. So it was such a fun time trying to really nail down, a name. That was the hardest part of it. And like Grounded Feet, just the G logo, and like it's so clean, it's so simple, and it says a lot without saying anything. So Grounded Feet just kind of came. Honestly, I don't know how to explain it besides just like going through, writing stuff down, doing Google searches, like just this process of hours of looking online and stuff like that. The graphic designer, same thing. This chick went to my church. She had just graduated graphic design school from Henderson, in Arkadelphia, and she was working part-time at a clothes store, and it just made sense. I mean, she had like 15 hours a week she could dedicate to it, and it just lined up. But I did ask. She didn't just like fall in my lap, hey, I heard you doing this. So I just asked around people in the church, people that would, kind of be willing to help out. And, through that, I was paying her like $10 an hour. And then you go and talk to any graphic designer, they're charging like 40, 50, $60 an hour for graphic design work. So I just got a huge blessing with getting this chick that was willing to help for $10 an hour, because that's what she was making at the boutique store. So she had just graduated, and, the value of her time is constantly going up the longer she's working for me. So, but it was, as any startup, like, you just have to make do with what you have. So, like, I kind of had some visions for some ideas, and we just had the creative process, like, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. She would do it. We would make edits, and then we would have our final product. So typically, per design, we have I think we have 8 designs total now. Each design cost me probably about 10 hours worth of edits and stuff. So about $100 per design is what my cost was. So yeah, so super lucky on that. So our manufacturing was another thing, just a whole ton of calls, and no, we don't do that. Well, do you know someone who might? And that was phone call after phone call after phone call. Manufacturing is one of the hardest things. And I actually talked to Lighthouse for the Blind here in Little Rock. They actually manufacture T-shirts for the Army and all kinds of random stuff that they do. We didn't meet their minimum manufacturing order, so that we had to guarantee, I think like, I can't remember the number, but it was like maybe 1,000 pillow. Like we talked to them about pillows. We had different manufacturers for T-shirts, pillows, sunglasses, watches. We kind of outsourced to a few different people, but once we get to that number, my goal is to use this Little Rock manufacturer because the numbers make sense if we can get to that volume to do it locally, cut down, and give back to people that are blind and deaf that need jobs. So that's really our goal. Our goal is not to make $1 million and hoard a bunch of cash for our company. Our goal is to create jobs, make cool stuff that people really like to engage with. But yeah, manufacturing is a tricky one.
Very cool. Anybody else? No. All right. Awesome. Good job. Let's give some love to Nolan.
Thanks, guys.
Where'd you put that? There it is. So, I know you guys remember because it wasn't that long ago, but we talked a few minutes ago about Nolan's needs, right? What he's looking for. So if you look at the cards in front of you, or in your chair, or generally around in the area, this is the part where you commit to connecting someone you know to Nolan. So somebody who's an awesome coder, who might know somebody who would be a good CTO candidate, somebody who would be a CTO candidate, somebody who could maybe give some advice or mentorship on the web situation, right? Somebody who works in retail, owns a retail shop, is a buyer for a retailer. Anybody that you can think of that you think that Nolan needs to meet, you're going to write their little name on that card. And what's going to happen is we're going to get back to you, and Ashley is going to say, hey, you said that you were going to introduce your friend Susan to Nolan, just a reminder so you don't forget to do that. We're not asking for their contact information. We're not getting engaged to anybody. We're just connecting people so that the startups and the business community can grow together. So you guys got that? You got pens? You can write stuff down on cards? Awesome. Perfect. Okay, so next week we have Ezra Innovations, and because of some scheduling challenges, we're going to move Little Rock Tech Fest to an alternate date. They're going to present actually on the first Tuesday, which is September 13th. Oh, no. No, we are meeting next week. Something horrible has happened to my spreadsheet situation. But I want to tell you guys about one other thing. There's this great initiative that was started by one of our very own, Steve Rice. And Steve started this initiative called Start Here Little Rock. It's actually startherelr.org. Yeah, startherelr.org. And the meeting for that is this Saturday at Ron Robinson. It's designed to help women and minorities determine where and how they can go about taking their idea and turning it into a business. So it's going to be a great opportunity. There's more about that on our website. You can find it on the Twitter feed and also at startherelr.org. So that's all for us today. Feel free to grab some more Chick-fil-A, drink some more coffee. It is Co-Work Wednesday, so you're welcome to use the screaming fast internet, as mentioned before, and work out of the space for a little bit today. And otherwise, we look forward to seeing you here next Wednesday. Yay!